Ready, set, hut, hut.
As the hills of West Virginia resound with the sounds of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 50 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tavon Austin.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into another Game Week live stream here on the Country Roads webcast. The penultimate game of the WVU football season already here. Hard to believe this is already game 11 for the Mountaineers. 11th time we're getting ready to do one of these streams here ahead of a WVU football game. And of course, as you guys know, as has been the case in these streams throughout the season, this is your chance to share your prediction for Saturday's game with us. Tomorrow's game, I guess I should say now. Usually do these on Thursdays, doing it on Friday this week. But you guys have hopefully heard our predictions now. If you haven't, check those out here on YouTube, or you can find it on WVSportsNow.com, or you can listen to it on any podcast platform to hear ours, hear our in-depth preview. But want to get your all's predictions for the game. How are you feeling it turns out for the Mountaineers in tomorrow's contest against the UCF Knights? West Virginia needing a home win. In a bad way, only 2 home wins on the season, obviously 5-5 overall, but really have struggled in home games more often than not, unfortunately. So hoping to see something shake there, positive for the Mountaineers. But if you want to hear our thoughts, you can check out our preview and predictions podcast, but would love to hear yours. So that's always your chance to do that here. Drop your predictions. Other than that, we'll get into some uniform talk, and we'll talk a little bit about some other WVU sports as well. Always try to throw that in the streams now that those are ongoing currently. But share your predictions, guys, as always. Hey, what's going on, Tim? Appreciate you, man. He said thinks this is going to be a tougher game for West Virginia than most people think. However, he thinks he pulls it out in the end. That's awesome, Tim. I like the confidence, man. What do you think? What do you think score-wise, Tim? What do you think your score prediction is going to be for this one? Glad to see the optimism, though. You're feeling a little bit better than Stephen, Brad, and I were. You know, spoiler alert. I'm sure you've probably already seen the episode, but nonetheless, anyone else that's in here live, if you want to throw your prediction there in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact on a playback, you can always throw it in the comments. But be sure to hit the thumbs up button, whether you're live or on the playback. That helps us a ton. Just giving us a little click of that like button helps dump that YouTube algorithm. And be sure to subscribe here for all your WVU football content. We'll continue to cover it throughout this season and, of course, moving into the off season as well. And you can still become a channel member here for that bonus WVU football content, including film reviews, game rewatches, player grades, videos, snap counts, all that good stuff, depth charts. You can find as a channel member for sure. But let's talk a little bit about there's Tim's prediction real quick. 38-24 West Virginia win. Appreciate that, Tim. But let's talk a little bit about some of these other WVU sports really quick, and then we will get into talking some football. And of course, I always encourage you guys share your predictions there in the chat. Come back, touch on those throughout the stream, and any questions, comments you got as well. But the WVU women, how about them? Currently up 82-19, on their way to their 6th win of the season. Going to be 6-0 on the year. They're currently ranked 13th in the country, but all of their wins, look at this schedule here. Like I said, they're up big right now against Lafayette, well on their way to another win, completely blowing everyone out. 85-41, 110-41, 82-54, 83-62, 78-47, and another huge win here in this game tonight. Going to remain undefeated, and they're forcing a ton of turnovers. So Mark Kellogg and his club, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in women's college basketball. So shout out to the Mountaineer women's team. And then, of course, could talk a little bit about the men here for a couple minutes. Like to carve out a little bit of talk about that one as well. After that, a more positive result this time for us to talk about. They take down Iona 86-43, and Iona is usually a team that's pretty good. They're not bad. They're in the tournament quite frequently. This was one of their worst performances in quite some time. West Virginia played some great defense, hold them to under 24% from the field goals, under 26% from three. They forced a ton of turnovers, over 21 turnovers. So, they're doing a good job as well. Not as good as the West Virginia women's, but I like the things that Coach DeVries is doing on the men's side as well. You see West Virginia shot the ball well, 52% field goals, 48% from the three-point line. And, they actually rebounded the ball decently well, 39-36 over Iona, which is big because that's going to be kind of the weakness of this men's basketball team with the height that they lack. But what they make up that for with is, their ability to get out and run and score. And they have plenty of guys that can do that. You see in this game, Javon Small and Tucker DeVries probably going to be your two main scorers this year. Javon Small had his best game of the season in this game against Iona, 23 points, 5 assists, 4 steals. Then you see Tucker DeVries doing a little bit of everything, 13 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. West Virginia getting a lot of blocks, 11 blocks as a team in this game. And how about Eduardo Andre, the backup center, with 4 blocks and 7 rebounds, kind of filling his role there, the lone kind of big man that West Virginia has. Of course, Hansberry is a big man, but he's more of a stretch 4 type guy that's kind of playing a 5 role versus Andre, who's actually 6'11". But the West Virginia men now 3-1 on the season after the unfortunate loss to the Panthers, but wins over Robert Morris, UMass, and Iona. Now you've got a really tough contest coming up this coming Wednesday. It's going to be on ESPN 2:30 against Gonzaga, and this is in the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis tournament, loaded tournament there, and you have drawn, one of the best teams in it, a team that's a national title contender in Gonzaga. They've been blowing people out, including a big win. If you look at their schedule here, over Baylor, 101-63. But Arizona State played them closer. San Diego State played them closer. So hopefully West Virginia can have a performance more aligned with what they did versus the blowout huge victory over Baylor. But Gonzaga looks really tough this year, so it'll be an interesting matchup there, and we'll see how West Virginia has improved since that game in the backyard brawl where they, got manhandled. They're going to hope to stick a little bit closer with Gonzaga. And if they're able to even keep the game somewhat close, and that's a good sign because how dominant this Gonzaga team has looked versus a West Virginia team that's really still finding their footing with a brand new roster and coaching staff. But I think that this WVU team doesn't look bad. We got the potential of a tournament team. I still believe that for the West Virginia men's team. So I wanted to talk about them briefly there as well. We'll come back and catch up with you guys in chat really quickly and take a swig of my water first, though. All right. Hey, Eric Flowers, what's going on? See you in here, man. Eric Flowers, I'm saying WVU by 50, need these next 2 games. I understand that, Eric. I know the 6.5 line there, unfortunately, coming down to the wire for sure. Got to win out to be able to hit that one now. And I'd love to see West Virginia do it. I'm hoping they win both of these games as well. Going to be a tall task, though, both of them. I mean, UCF, I know, has the 4-6 record, but they are favored in the game, and they have a really explosive offense, really good at running the football, and they have a good rushing defense as well. So we'll see what happens. But I feel you there, Eric. I got some action on that, too. Appalachian Paisano, channel member here, Country Roads Webcast. Appreciate you, as always. 82-19, I know. What a score, right? This women's team's been doing some crazy things this year. There was that one game when they forced, 44 turnovers. They've had 3 games, I think, where they forced 30-plus turnovers. So, yeah, they've been ridiculous so far this season. Hopefully they can keep it. So you're saying you'd like the over. Are you WVU UCF total? I'm guessing you're talking there, Eric. Actually, funny enough, I had the over in my initial prediction, then ended up changing my mind before we ended up recording the show and switching it to something else where I think it's currently hitting the under, because I think I saw the total was, 60? or 61. Let's see here. What was that number? Let me pull up on DraftKings. That's what I usually use anyway. 330 West Virginia and UCF. Where are you? Oh, it's up to 70. No, I'm sorry. That's a different game. Sorry. It's like East Carolina or Texas. 61.5 is the over. And I'm not going to give away my score, but I will say I had a total of 59. So I'm actually on the under right now. I had the over because I had, UCF scoring, 40 plus initially in the first prediction I was going to go with. But then I thought about it because both these teams like to run the football a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe that might knock out a possession or two out of this game. Both these teams want to focus on the run. I know UCF likes to use tempo and go fast and still run the football. But West Virginia, when they have it, they're going to try and take some air out of that thing and really run it. So that might limit possession. So I had it drop it a little bit. So I actually got the under surprisingly. But I would not be surprised to see the over hit. But my prediction that I went with on the show actually hits the under a little bit. 63 when Eric got in on the total there, down to 61.5. So it seems like a lot of people liking that under. Keeps moving down. All right. So a couple little news pieces here. We'll switch over to football now, guys. Of course, you guys got any other predictions or questions there, throw them in the chat as well. But switch over to football here. I won't keep you guys too long. Most people want to get some shut-eye before they head up to Morgantown tomorrow, myself included. Probably head out about 8:30 or 9, head up that way. About 3 hours or so from give or take from where we're at. Traveling with old Steven again, co-host here. We're going to ride up together and maybe able to pop squat. We sit section over from each other, but last week, the people that sat beside him wasn't there. I was able to pop squat beside him. We enjoyed sitting beside each other for the game for once. We'll see how it goes this week. But some just little news tidbits. Some of you guys may have seen this. Some of you guys haven't. Both these have been accepted, I believe, from Austin Brinkman and Wyatt Milam, but the Reese Senior Bowl inviting both of those. So high praise there. Obviously, kind of expected for Wyatt Milam, who's looking like he's going to be a first rounder and potentially one of the first 3 tackles off the board in the draft. And then Austin Brinkman, as we talked about, a few times here, one of the best long snappers in college football, and the Senior Bowl invite to the Reese Senior Bowl there proves that. Both players have accepted that. And then we also had a couple other players recognized, or really basically a handful here for other games. I think we talked about the East-West Shrine previously. That was Sean Martin, Garnett Hollis, and a couple others, can't remember right off. But the Hula Bowl, we're going to have TJ Jackson, Fatorma Mulba, Cole Taylor, and Brandon Yates getting invites to the Hula Bowl. So obviously multiple different showcases there for, postseason for players that are seniors looking to go on and have pro prospects. They can get scouted a little bit in some of those games. West Virginia's going to have some players in the Shrine Bowl, have some players in the Hula Bowl, and a couple of players in the Reese Senior Bowl as well. And one of those that we mentioned that's in the Reese Senior Bowl, of course, Wyatt Milam has also been named as semifinalist for the Outland Trophy there, given to one of the top linemen there in college football. And Wyatt Milam is a candidate for it as well. He should be. So wanted to hit on those really quickly. Then other than that, of course, we got to talk uniforms, guys. And then I want to wrap up with the video that West Virginia put out honoring the seniors. Obviously, tomorrow is senior day. Don't want that to go, astray with everything else that's going on, of course. Obviously, a lot of heat around the program, a lot of heat around Neil Brown, a lot of negativity going on. But, of course, these seniors still, blood, sweat, and tears into this program. And a lot of guys that have been here for a lot of years. No, it hasn't been necessarily a winning period for us, but these guys still have been given their all. So good to, honor them and recognize them. Eric says he thinks it's a trap game all around. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Tim says he hopes we win our last 2 games in the bowl game for the school and the state of West Virginia. Not worried about the coach. I think it's time for a new one personally. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm sure if you guys saw the show this week, me, Brad, and Steven all kind of agree with that sentiment. Now, do we know if it's going to happen? I don't know. That's something else that's up for debate as to if it will happen or not. I think it's resounding throughout the fan base that a lot of people agree that that's how they feel, is that it is time for a change. It's kind of hit a breaking point and something should happen and maybe go a different direction. But as to if that actually will occur, we just kind of got to wait and see. But still, as you said, still hope we win the last 2 games, still rooting for the team regardless, and hope West Virginia has success, definitely. for sure. I have too, Tim. He says he's trusted the climb till his legs are worn out. Same, man. That's one thing I mentioned. I'm a trust the climb guy from way back, but it just gets to that certain point, man. It is very much there now and maybe past it as well. But nonetheless, let's talk uniforms really quick for the upcoming game. Obviously, we kind of knew what the uniform combination would probably be, with it being the true blue game. But still, let's show the uniform reveal video and talk a little bit about the combination. All right. So obviously, true blue game as expected. West Virginia going blue helmets, blue jerseys, blue pants this week. There you see their video with Rasheed Marshall in it. Here's some stills from the video, just some kind of closer up looks at the uniform combo. Always got to carve out some talk for uniform time here. Some stills there in front of the facilities. I love those canary tabs on the visor there. And I like the contrast with the gold with the blue, and then you get the blue with the gold on the tabs. I really do like our new uniform set. That is one positive thing that came out of this season thus far, is our new uniform set is very clean. And of course, our guy WVU Uniforms 304 on social media always providing us with the great stats for each uniform combination. Blue, blue, blue is the fourth most worn uniform combination in WVU history and the second most worn home uniform. We've worn it 38 times and great record in it as well, 29-9. We've won 76% of our games in it, and we last wore it last year against BYU in the 37-7 win. So, hey, good history in it and a good track record in it. Maybe if you're superstitious, that carries over here and affects us positively tomorrow, and we can get a win in this blue, blue, blue combo yet again. But wanted to take a second, of course, talk these uniforms. I like it. I really do. Chief Fan says, I have a feeling this will be Neil Brown's last home game. Hey, it's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. We'll see how it shakes out. But if he doesn't win it, then there's even more chance that that statement is 100% true. That would be only the second time ever in WVU football history that West Virginia lost 5 home games. And Chief Fan shares his prediction, UCF 35, WVU 21. Appreciate that prediction. And wouldn't be surprised to see it go that way. It's going to be a tough game for the Mountaineers for sure. But, you know, it just funny enough, because Chief Fan comment made me think about it. And I was just actually thinking about this today at work. Just a little funny tidbit that came to my mind. If it does end up going that way and it ends up being Neil Brown's last home game, that was just kind of ironic, because I hadn't always had season tickets. I mean, I do now have season tickets, but just for this to be the case, because I didn't have season tickets before, it's kind of ironic, because past 3 West Virginia head coaches, Neil Brown, Dana Holgorsen, and Bill Stewart, rest in peace. And funny enough, I've got a chance to be at the final game or the final home game for each one of the 3, because as it turned out, final home game with Bill Stewart was against Rutgers, that snowy game there to end that season, Tavon and Gino and those guys. And I was at that one, funny enough. And then the Camping World Bowl at the end of Dana's tenure, didn't know it was going to be his final game, but went to that bowl game, and man, that was terrible. Dana never really did so hot in bowl games, save for the Orange Bowl. But nonetheless, that ended up being Dana's final game. Went to that one. And then, of course, as Chief Fan says there, if this does end up being Neil Brown's final home game, I'm going to be there for that one also. So just kind of weird and ironic there that I was thinking about that today, that could end up being the case, because I was thinking similarly along those lines that it very well could be Neil Brown's last home game. Not only could it be the last game for some of these seniors, but it could be Neil Brown's last hurrah on Mountaineer Field as well. We'll see what plays out with that moving forward. But also some other guys that it could be their final day and need to keep in mind that Neil Brown doesn't limit who he allows to walk on senior day. So sometimes we've seen, a handful of juniors walk, and sometimes those guys do end up leaving, but sometimes those guys end up returning. I think last year, several players walked, then ended up coming back. And then, of course, you had guys like Zach Frazier walk that ended up leaving and others along those lines. So, don't buy too much into if you see a guy walking that's not a senior, because it doesn't necessarily guarantee that he's leaving. But nonetheless, just something to keep in mind there. Other than that, I want to share, like I said, I want to share the video about the seniors. But the only other thing that I wanted to touch on here was just a bit of an injury update that we know a little bit more about now. Jaden Bray is going to be out for the rest of the year now. Went ahead and had surgery. We mentioned Aiden Garnes and Aubrey Burks out for the rest of the year. So 2 players on defense, 1 player on offense out for the remainder of the season. And hate that to see Jaden Bray just couldn't quite get healthy this year. He was a guy that we had high hopes for. And you saw the games where he was healthy, those couple games early in the season. He made a big, long catch in both of those games. So if you're looking, silver lining, maybe you see he can be a big play threat when he is back and healthy, because he does have the ability to return and should be back and playing for the Mountaineers next season, and hopefully fully healthy and has better luck on the injury front, because he can be an impactful player. But you hate to hear that news that he's going to be out for the rest of the season, especially now when you've lost Traylon Ray too, getting a little thin there. Going to hopefully have some guys step up. I know they mentioned Jarrell Williams may get some snaps, but don't rule out seeing some of these freshmen. Obviously, we'll see Day Farmer. We've been seeing him, but maybe a Brandon Raymond, maybe a Don Collins. Maybe they sneak one of those guys in there, because they can play those guys now and still maintain that red shirt. Now you're down to that less than 4 games portion of the season. So who knows what could happen there for sure. Eric Flowers says this is the last home game regardless. An arrangement will be made. He lost the fans. That's kind of what I'm feeling about it too, Eric, is it just feels like this thing is at a breaking point, 100%. I agree with you. And that's what I mentioned on the show this week. I think that regardless of the monetary issues involved, whether it be the buyout or, of course, have to do the revenue sharing next year, if you want to be serious about football and be serious about being competitive in football in this new era, in this new Big 12, where things are open and you have a potential spot in the CFP on the line every year, if you want to be serious and competing, you have to throw, kind of that caution to the wind on those money issues and really just find a way to make it happen and make it work, because being competitive is going to earn you more money down the line. And, keeping someone that's has you at best, mediocre and average is going to cost you more down the line. So regardless of how we feel the money issues are, oh man, the buyout's not there, West Virginia's hurting for money. I think Ren Baker in the athletic department finds a way to get it done and makes the move that needs to be made, because obviously us as fans, guys, we're seeing all these things. There's no way, Ren Baker hasn't seen a lot of these same things that we're seeing, these same patterns and such, and has to want to make a change. And also, let's not forget, he probably wants to leave his stamp on this thing as well. He's done a great job. We talked a little bit earlier about the women's basketball team, the men's basketball team. Those are both hires that he has made. Both look promising to this point, and he would love to bring in a football hire that's successful and brings WVU football back to prominence and have it be his guy. So I think we need to keep that in mind as well when we're thinking about this, because I think right now I'm leaning it that it's more likely that he does get fired at the end of the season than he doesn't. And that's just my personal opinion. No sources or, crazy basis for that, but that's just kind of the way that I feel about it. Chief fan says, I see under 40,000 people showing up to the game. Yeah, funny enough, me and Steven were kind of chatting about that when we both decided that we were still going to head up and go, with it being the last chance to see these guys for a calendar year. We're going to go ahead and go, but we were thinking maybe 30-some K. 40 would probably be a stretch, but under 40 is probably a safe bet. Announced attendance, they may announce something about 40, but who knows how accurate that'll be, especially if they're going off tickets sold and such. But I'd say you're looking at somewhere in the 30,000s for sure. 5-5, not where we thought we would be, says Silas. Hey, I know that's right, Silas. Appreciate you hopping in and chiming in, man. But he says, oh, well, go Mountaineers, beat UCF. That's right, man. Not the season that we wanted, but all we can do is cheer on the Mountaineers in these final couple games, hopefully pick up a win and get to a bowl game. See what happens, but that's right. We're rooting them on tomorrow, man. Let's go try and beat UCF. Appreciate you, Silas. Yeah, I saw that, Chief fan. Some crazy low ticket prices on the third-party sites right now for this WVU game. So, if you haven't gotten a ticket and you actually want a chance to go, this is your opportunity. You can get it for super low price. It's going to be cold, though. Bundle up if you're heading up tomorrow. I'm going to be wearing a ton of layers for sure. It's one of those games where you wear the tights, you wear the 2 pairs of socks, you wear the double hoodies, you where the hat and the toboggan, all that stuff, gloves. Better have all that ready because it's going to be cold, but it's also either going to be rainy or snowy, depending on how cold it gets as the game will end, of course, in the evening there under the lights. But heading up tomorrow myself, and if you are heading up, wear your blue, true blue game there. We're going to honor the seniors, and so we'll get ready to wrap up this week's Game Week stream, guys. You guys got any other predictions, any other questions there, throw them in the chat. I'll come back, touch up with you guys one final time here. Just want to remind you guys, whether you're watching us live or playback, hit the thumbs up button, give us a like, helps a ton with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe here for a ton of WVU football content. But let's recognize those seniors that will be playing their final game on Mountaineer Field tomorrow with another great video by the WVU media team. Let's share this.
My name is Traylon Davis.
Garrett Green.
Torres Simmons. The thing I'll miss most is just going out, having fun with my brothers.
I miss the people, gonna miss my teammates, playing for these coaches, playing for the fans, playing for the whole state.
The fan base and how special this place is on a Saturday.
One thing I'm not gonna miss is practicing all the time in the rain.
Long days, camp days, practice days.
Waking up early. We can get rid of that.
My name is Sean Martin.
My name is CJ Cole.
My name is Jaquay Hubbard. My favorite moment as a WVU football player would be in 2022, playing Pitt for the first time. It meant a lot to me. My grandpa was actually in UPMC, got to watch me from there. It was a pretty cool moment for me and my family.
Favorite moment was my first sack against Pitt.
Punt return in the Duke's Mayo Bowl versus North Carolina last year when Beanie ran it in. Kind of taking him into the end zone was something I always remember.
The most I'm going to miss about playing football here at WVU is definitely the culture and the brotherhood.
I don't think there's anything that I'm going to just totally just not miss. I feel like every part of this it was a memorable experience and something I'll look back on and be thankful for.
My name is Austin Brinkman.
Fatoma Marble.
Cole Taylor.
Garnett Hollis Jr.
Definitely my family. They come to every game, they support me in everything that I do, and I just want to make them proud.
My people, my family, they didn't sacrifice a lot to put me in this position. That's my why, just to make them proud.
My brothers and my parents, how they got me to this country and creating a way for me. I owe it to my little brothers to show them that you can achieve anything no matter what.
My siblings, I have a younger stepbrother, Judd, and younger sister, Mary. Just setting a good example for them. Showing them that, we can do it and that hard work, pays off.
Any advice to the younger fan base that are pursuing the same thing?
My advice to you is just to keep working. Everything you want on the other side of hard work, so you got to keep working for it.
My advice would be just to stay with it. Things may not always go your way at first, but just stay consistent to the work. Things will work out.
Surround yourself with people that's going to push you to be your best.
Allow yourself to be in the moment and enjoy that moment because 5 years or 4 years goes really fast.
Go Mountaineers.
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 All right, so good stuff there from the media team. Getting to hear from some of the seniors themselves, some of their great memories, some things they'll miss, some things they won't miss, all of that good stuff. But appreciative of those guys, their hard work here for the university, and excited to watch them on the field tomorrow one more time. And hopefully it's a positive result for the Mountaineers here. We need a home win. The West Virginia fans deserve a win at home. It's been so long. It's been a drought there at home this season. They've been hard to come by. So hoping for the best for those seniors. At least hopefully a good performance, if nothing else. Chief fan says Jimbo to West Virginia, please. I think there's several that kind of have him as a candidate that they'd like. I'm not against it, really, I guess you could say, because at this point I'm ABB. Anybody but Brown. But he's not my favorite. I will say that for sure. There's others that I would like more. I know Rich Rod's one that's been thrown around. I know some people are like, oh no, can't ever have Rich Rod back. But take a look at Jacksonville State right now, guys. They're one of the top rushing offenses in the country. They're undefeated in conference, so he can still get it done. And I want to pull this up because I had this pulled up the other day, and it's similar to how he got it done back when he was here. He's got the pieces at Jacksonville State that he kind of had here, a lot of the same coaches and stuff. But you look at their team, their quarterback has 900 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns, and the running back has 1,200 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns. And like I said, one of the top rushing offenses in college football. So his system, tried and true, still seems to work. So honestly, I'd probably have him a little bit ahead of Jimbo, just me personally. But I actually really like a guy like a Dan Mullen. I know some people are saying, oh, he's not a great recruiter, doesn't like to recruit, but I think that's a little bit false. I like Dan Mullen. I think you make a run at that. But I think that those are the type of guys we need to make a run at, is guys that have proven that they can be head coaches at the Power 5 level, whether you want to say how successful they were or weren't. Jimbo does have a national championship. Rich Rod's won pretty much everywhere he's been. Dan Mullen, a little bit less success, but still won a good bit of games and has success playing this type of competition. So I think that I would love to see, any one of those type of guys, because I'm just a little bit nervous about going, the past routes that we went a couple of times and it hasn't worked. Because, 2 hires ago, we went the coordinator route, got Dana. Didn't necessarily work. We never were able to play for a Big 12 championship. And then so we go, let's hire a group of 5 sitting head coach. We hadn't hired a sitting head coach in a long time at WVU. And by all accounts, it was a home run hire. And 6 more years, still no Big 12 championship game appearance. So that didn't work either. So I don't know. I'm a little bit shaky on hiring a coordinator or a group of 5 head coach now. So I almost would like a Jimbo or a Rich Rod or a Dan Mullen or somebody of that ilk more so than the other way. But there are some coordinators I like as well. Glenn Schumann, defense guy there at Georgia, and then Andy Kotelnicki, I think, is up there if you're talking offensive coordinators that could potentially be candidates as well. So I don't know, once it comes down to it and we get closer to the end of the season and it becomes more concrete what's going to happen, and if it looks like for sure West Virginia is going to move a different way, I will do a coaching candidate video where I get into the nitty gritty and try and make a big list. Last time when we thought this was going to happen, I think I had like a 25 coach list of 25 guys that I felt like were realistic possibilities. So I'll probably do that in the near future if it's looking like it's heading that way, like I think it might be currently. But nonetheless, for sure. Appreciate you guys though, man. I see you guys in there talking coaches and stuff. Indeed, man, it's a fun discussion, and I'm interested to get into it. I just don't want to come out with like a coaching candidate video until it's official that we're going to do something, or seems, all but official that we're going to make a move, which I'm hoping that we do. I think a lot of you guys are hoping that we do, and hopefully Ren Baker's here on the fan base that it's time for a change. But in the meantime and in between time, still 2 games left on this season. Still got to cheer on this Mountaineer football team, and we'll continue to cover this West Virginia football team throughout this season. We'll be back for our UCF Review and Reaction podcast early next week. Of course, for you channel members here, if you guys haven't yet, join us channel members here if you can't get enough WVU football content, because I'll have the player grades, the snap counts, the injury report, and a depth chart projection out early next week as well for channel members, and of course a film review after that. And then also, of course, next week we will get into then previewing the Texas Tech game, and that game is on the road, so that means we will be doing our watch along next week, and you can watch the game alongside us. We'll do a stream during the game. We've had a lot of fun with those watch parties, but that's just kind of a look ahead as to what's coming up for us. Obviously, as to what's up for WVU, it's UCF tomorrow, 3:30. Hopefully West Virginia is able to get a win. Senior day for the Mountaineers, true blue game. I'll be there to cheer them on, whether you're there in the stands as well or watching on TV. Let's get behind these guys and hope for a big win at home. We're due one there. Let's put on a good performance. A battle of the wills here. West Virginia wants to run the ball. UCF wants to run the ball. They have, the highest run grade in the Big 12, number 2 rushing offense in the nation, one of the best running backs in the country in RJ Harvey. They also have a really good running defense. So who can win that battle of the wheels and run the football is probably going to have a good chance to win this one. Let's hope West Virginia comes out, puts on a good performance. But either way, we'll be back to talk about it afterwards with you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning into this stream. As always, enjoy chatting with you guys. Hope you guys come back next week. We'll do this again, most likely on Thursday, as these usually are, ahead of the Texas Tech game. But this has been a fun one, talking the game week stream ahead of the UCF game. Ready to cheer on the Mountaineers tomorrow. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.